and today we're looking at this. This is the SJRC S30W, a double GPS quadcopter. Alright, let's open this up and dive inside and have a little look. Okay, so this is everything that you get. So let's move everything to one side and let's have a little look at the quadcopter to begin with. Look at this. This looks really quite nice. It looks very well. Just if we take a look at the paint for the second, it looks very metallic. It's not. It is 100% plastic, but it has this really nice glossy finish to it, that with this really nice metallic fleck to it as well, that makes it look very, very nice, very professional looking, I think. I don't think it looks that bad. I think it looks very good. Now if we look at the front of the quadcopter, it's got a nice little dip with a nice little nose to it. Now that works its way up the body of the quadcopter, giving this nice little dome where it sits and ends up at the back. Now this is where the battery should go. The battery we have here is a modular design. It is charged via micro USB here. You have an on and off button there next to it, and you have LED lights at the top showing you the status of how full the battery is. Now this particular battery is 3.7 volt, 1000 milliamp hour. It'll take roughly 60 minutes to charge and give you 8 minutes of flight time. Right, so let's pop this in and have a little look. So what you want to do when you pop it in, you want the LED lights to be facing the top, and then you just want to push it in until it clicks in. Now, getting it back out might be a little bit awkward. You've got two clips, one here and one on the underside. You want to push this really quite tough, really quite tight to pull it out. But the plastic itself is quite tough, so you may find it a little bit difficult. And it has been something that is getting easier with use, but when I first did it, it took quite a while to open that up. But just thought I'd just let you know. Right, so that's the battery. Now if we go down from the back of the quadcopter, you can see we've got these little LED lights here on the bottom of the motor housings. We've got LED lights at the back and at the front. As I've got the battery here, let's turn it on. Click until it comes on, and these are the colours of the LED. So they're all flashing red for the second as the quadcopter needs to be calibrated, but you should have, I think it's white at the front and blue at the back. And then to turn off, you just click and hold on the off button and the quadcopter turns itself off. Oh, there we are. And as we were at the back of the quadcopter, let's have a little look at these. So we've got 4 brushed coreless motors inside here. They are 1020 motors, so they're quite powerful. They will give you a top speed of 24 kilometers an hour, but that is only when you're off beginner mode. If you turn off beginner mode within the app, which we look at the end of this particular video. Now if we turn it around and have a little look at the underside, you will see we have a gimbal. This gimbal is motorised and is controlled from the transmitter. It gives you a 120-degree view of angle. This camera is 720p, so therefore you should get a nice enough little video from that. The lens itself, I think, isn't going to be that good, but then again we'll see when we take her out for a flight and see exactly how the video from here is outputted. Then you have the 2 little landing sprigs at the bottom. You do get 2 spare landing sprigs as well, should you require them. They come in the package, and also, as you'll notice, and one thing that's already really annoys me is that the Wi-Fi antenna juts out from the side of the gimbal. I really don't like that. There is also a micro SD card slot in the back here. Now when you record your video and take your photos, it's good to have your SD card in there, because if you don't, you're not going to get your videos recorded if you're using the transmitter. The manual does say you can record directly onto your phone, although I've not found that to be the case, so just to ensure you put a nice little SD card in there. I'll be using a standard class 10 just to ensure that it can write to it fast enough. So there we are. That is the quadcopter. It looks quite nice. I really like this red fleck in the paint. Now there is one other thing I want to go over. If you did want to remove this camera, there's a little button at the back here that you push, and then the camera does just pull out, and then you have to disconnect the cables. Now when you get the quadcopter, the camera and the gimbal is going to be totally attached. If you did want to replace it, this is exactly what you'd want to do. So let's look at its weight without a battery to begin with. So without a battery we are looking at 148 grams. But let's look at its flying weight. So with the battery included, you are going to be looking at a weight of 187. So it is under the 250 gram laws of a lot of countries and a lot of places. You're best off double checking to make sure that this is under the gram weight restriction if you have one in your country or in your city. So there we are, that's the quadcopter. Next I want to have a little look at this. Now this is probably the best transmitter I have seen on any quadcopter. No, I'm not exaggerating, this is most definitely the best. And I tell you why, it's down to one simple thing, and that is this little notification window here. So this little notification window, if I turn on the transmitter, you can see it gives you lots of different notifications, from speed 1, 2 and 3, return to home, power on and charged, as well as headless mode, video recording, whether you've used trim, and whether you're running in normal mode or headless. Now every single time you push a button, one of these little LED strips is going to light up. That gives you exactly the amount of visibility you need so that you know exactly what button you've pushed. Because normally with these transmitters you get 13 or 14 different functions. It's very difficult to keep track of either what speed you're in, or should I say, I find it quite difficult sometimes to keep track of what speed I'm in and whether I've used a gimbal movement or anything like that. This keeps an eye on it for you, so you have quite a lot of information in that, and I really appreciate that. Now, this transmitter is chargeable. It has got a little micro USB port in the back there, and this will take roughly half an hour to charge, and it should give you more than enough battery power for at least 2 or 3 flights. Now I have done 2 flights with this already, and I have only charged this once, so therefore I'm very happy with that. The shoulder buttons at the back, you have follow me on the right hand side, along with taking photo and video. Take photo is just click and hold, take video is take photo is to click, and to take video is click and hold. Once you have taken video, it will pop up here, and this transmitter will beep to let you know you are recording video. I find that very annoying. And then you've also got the 2 little angle buttons here, then up and down, so that you can angle your gimbal up and down on the quadcopter. Couple more buttons on the front. You have return to home, you have automatic takeoff and landing, as well as the on and off button there as well. And you can change speeds by pushing down the left analog stick, and that will change speed 1 through to 3 for you. Right, there is another thing to go with this, and that is the FPV boom. Quite standard, it just slots into the back. So basically when you get it, just slot and click, and that is it, you are in. Now one thing I will say that may not be totally apparent, you have a little Phillips screwdriver there. Make sure that is done up nice and tight, otherwise you will find your phone will be rocking around. Now I've tightened this up once when I first had it, and I've used this for 2 flights, and I have found that my phone sits in there beautifully, and I haven't worried about it once. Now there's a nice little action on this when you pull this up. It is spring loaded inside, but it is quite nice. A nice little action on it, and you do have a little bit of foam there so that your phone is cradled nice and shouldn't get scratched. So that is the transmitter, and I really like that. I really like that a lot. Now, control distance is 400 meters from the quadcopter, but obviously that's taken into consideration things like there's no obstructions in your way, and there is a clear line of sight for the signal. Now that is, and with follow me as well, before I forget, your maximum distance is 30 meters. Right, so that's the transmitter. You also get a few other things. You also get a Phillips screwdriver, 4 spare propellers, as well as a couple of extra cogs in there for the motors should you require them. That's quite good. You get a little manual inside here. In the manual it goes into things of how to use your drone, how to calibrate, as well as how to get the application installed from the QR codes. If I were you, I would double check this and read it through, because the way you calibrate this particular gyroscope and GPS is a little bit different to normal, so just refresh yourself with that, just to make sure you're doing it correctly. It does tell you on the app, but it is also good to have a little read just to brush up on things. And then you have your spare landing sprigs that we saw earlier, and your complementary micro USB cable for charging your transmitter and your quadcopter as well. But obviously you have to do them separately. Okay, so as I said, you get the app from the manual from just scanning the QR code, or you could just scan for SJRC within the iOS or Android store, and it should find the correct application for you. And when you open it, this is what you're going to see. It is styled a little bit off DJI's app, so you have a picture of your quadcopter, as well as quick start, controls, learn to fly, how to get to your media, your photos and your video, as well as how to get support from the company. Now, as we are flying the SJ30W, we're going to want to scroll over once until you see your particular quadcopter, and then once you have connected, you click controls. No, controls. There we go. And then you just switch into a standard view of the application. Now this application has quite a few different features, and let's go through some of that now. So you start off, you have back or your return to home. You have your analog stick, so when you turn that on you have a lot of functions like follow me, return to home, automatic takeoff, automatic landing. You have your microphone, you have your photos and your video there as well. You also have your distance, height and speed at the bottom of the application. If you want to have this screen up, fine. I didn't use it. I used the transmitter, as everything is very nicely laid out on there. Then you have a flip button, so you can flip this particular screen. VR, so if you're using SJRC's VR goggles, you can click VR and you can actually sync them up and use this particular phone and application with the SJRC VR goggles. Next one is get to your media. Next one is flight plan, so you can see the flights that you've done, the distance, the speed you've accomplished, as well as the altitude you've been flying at as well, and the date. You've also got a little arrow here that when you click it, it shows you a little map of where exactly you're flying. Now this map orientation alters as well as you are flying, and it shows you exactly where true north is and everywhere else that you are flying as well. That's quite handy. You can also tap in it as well for the quadcopter to fly. The next little one over is your signal meter. This is GPS signal. Then you have your transmitter battery, your quadcopter battery, and then you have your hamburger menu. So if you click that, this opens up and this is where you turn on beginner mode if you want to turn on beginner mode, or if you want to turn off beginner mode. And then once you turn it off, you can then alter your flight distance, your flight altitude and your maximum return. In order to set all this, you have to be attached to your quadcopter, so ensure that you've got your quadcopter on and you're connected in order for this to all save. So that is just a quick little look at the SJRC app as well. So then folks, this is everything that you get in the package. You have your quadcopter, you get your battery, your manual, your transmitter with FPV boom, you get your accessory bag, your USB charger, as well as your two landing sprigs, and it all comes in at the price of £50 or $60, and you'll find the links to this product in the description as well. Thanks ever so much for watching folks. I've been JD, you've been fantastic as always. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Hello and welcome to all the new subscribers. I hope you're enjoying the channel. So until next time my friends, happy flying.